A senior police officer is blaming the UDA for attacking 3 homes and cars in Larne last night.
A mob of up to 100 people, some of whom were masked, were involved in the violence.
A police officer who arrived at the scene and a man living in one of the houses were injured. Our correspondent Jane Lockery has this report.
Ferris Avenue in Larne, and forensic officers sift through the wreckage of one of 2 houses in the street. Curtains hang out of broken windows, while inside rooms have been wrecked. Neighbours tell me a family of 5 were in this house when up to 100 members of the UDA, many of whom were masked, smashed their way into the house. Just a few yards up the street, another house where a mother and her 2 sons live was also targeted. Their car, parked outside, was destroyed. People living in the street were simply too frightened to speak to me today, although one woman did tell me she was so terrified she ran out the back door of her house with her young children, who witnessed everything. This afternoon, a minister arrived to help console many of the elderly people in the area whom he says have been traumatised by last night's violence, during which a police officer's eye was struck with a shard of glass.
A shock and disbelief that people could come into the Larne area and cause such devastation and havoc. The trauma to the people concerned directly is almost beyond description. But the trauma to the district, when we thought that this was all in the past, and clearly there's indications that the troubles of the past are perhaps just below the surface. They've not gone away.
A short distance away in Knockdhu Park, the police stand guard over a 3rd house which was attacked and ransacked by this gang. One man was injured and is in a stable condition in hospital. The police have confirmed this house was damaged before, just a fortnight ago on the 18th of March. In Ferris Avenue, 2 men were arrested there yesterday afternoon and 3 men taken to hospital after a fight broke out in the street. A senior police officer says the gang involved in last night's violence gathered in Carrickfergus before heading to Larne.
I'm not going to talk about the motive. I've been very clear in terms of who have attributed these criminal acts to, that is South East Antrim, UDA. The UDA is a very disparate, disaggregated, incohesive group. And this South East Antrim group, which wouldn't even be recognised by other elements within the UDA, seem to be on some sort of a power trip. They want to grab power and legitimacy in communities, and we're determined as a police service to bring them to justice, actually.
A local councillor who arrived at the scene shortly after the gang went on the rampage believes the police didn't have enough resources to deal with last night's violence.
There was no backup, I feel. 70 masked, armed men coming into Larne, proceeding to attack 2 houses, 1 police car, and were able to leave unchallenged. I feel this is unacceptable. The violence was discussed at the Assembly, which MLAs said raised questions about the UDA.
This now calls into question the ceasefire. Where do the PSNI see the UDA's ceasefire?
Where do you see it?
Well, it doesn't look like a ceasefire to me.
As the clear-up continues, the police insist they will be increasing patrols in the area. Jane Lockery, UTV Live, Larne.
And there's much more coverage of that attack in Larne. That's on our website, u.tv, where you can see more pictures of the damage done. You can also leave a comment. That's all at u.tv. And there will, of course, be more on that story on UTV Live tonight at 10:30.